This is something when you can't find comparables. Okay. What advice would you give to realtors right now that they're trying to price a property and they can't find any comparables to price it?
Well, yeah, this is, it's almost a running joke in the appraisal business, okay? It's like the appraiser, goes out and meets the realtor at the house, and the realtor, and then the appraiser says, well, how did you price this property? And they have no clue. I've actually have agents that have told me, I don't know what you're going to do for comparables. And it's like, honey, that if you don't know, what am I going to do? You know? Then you have kind of the reverse agents coming up with, they sell the house for, let's say, round numbers, $500,000. Well, then they come up with a bunch of other sales that sold for $500,000 and say, here's comps. No, those are just sales that sold for $500,000. I would love to do a class for agents to teach them how to find comparables and what is comparable. And, the thing that you need to be looking at, well, a lot of people think it's just the appraiser says that this is worth 500,000, signs his name to a piece of paper and sends that off. That's the end of it. No, it goes through a review process. And, in many cases, these reviewers are very astute appraisers themselves. Okay, so it's not like they're going to be able to get away with a lot of malarkey. These things will come back to them. It will bounce back. And what they're going to be looking for is ideally, what makes a perfect comparable is the exact same thing, that closed last week and it was across the street from the subject property. Well, that's a great comparable. Now, unless Walt Disney is writing the story, that doesn't happen very often, okay? So now what you want to do is to be able to bracket the features that the subject has with the comparables. So you want to bracket it in age, site size, bedroom and bathroom count, gross living area, bracket it with as many of these features as possible, not just come up with that the subject property is 2,000 square feet and sold for 500,000, and here's 5 sales that were 2,900 square feet and they sold for 500,000 too. Well, what does that tell me? It's not worth that, okay? It's worth less. You have to be able to bracket things. And this is what everybody should be looking at, because the reverse is if you can bracket everything, and this is where it will save you a lot of trouble if you are trying to challenge an appraisal, which is an uphill climb. But when you are wanting to do this, what you need to have is comparables that bracket the subject property. Okay, not just, well, this is a nice house. Yeah, well, they're all nice houses, They're all nice houses. That's why most of these banks, again, will have criteria on what they'll accept for a challenge, that the properties have to be better than the comparables that were used, meaning they have to be closer, more recent, or more similar. But again, you could build your case by bracketing. And if you can't do that, if you can't come up with the comparables, well, what's that telling you? You're trying to justify a particular price. Well, what price can be justified? And that's probably where it's going to come in, Okay. Now, there's so many unique properties that are out there that are very hard. They're very hard to appraise. But again, in a neighborhood like we have here, we have everything is a little different, but it's pretty easy to bracket things here.